Hello everyone, welcome to Learn DAX channel. My name is Siddesh, and if you followed me until now in the end-to-end project video series where we had a bunch of business problems related to a shipments dataset which we solved using DAX, well now is the time to put everything together in our dashboard. So just like in my previous videos, I am going to use a mockup in order to create a rough idea of how the dashboard is going to look like, and then we are going to finalize our design. So without further ado, let's get started. So for the purpose of this mockup, I have certain KPIs like the total orders, the sales amount, the on-time orders, the on-time sales amount. Besides, I have something called the supplier analysis table. I have a donut chart about sales amount by the delivery type, sales amount by the day type, funnel chart for the sales amount, COGS and profit, and sales amount and profit by product name. So let's start building these visuals one by one and let's see where it takes us. So first of all, let's go back to Power BI. And the first thing that I'm going to pull in is total orders. So I need to create cards. And how do I get the total orders? Well, I can do one thing. I can go to the orders table and I can get the order ID and I can simply change this to account. And once I change it to count and convert it into a card, well, that's how I get the total orders. So now let me just change the callout value or the category label. Where do I have it? Okay, I can change it here. So I don't need to change the title. I need the total orders. Then what else do I need? I need the sales amount. So let me just copy paste this and I'll pull in the sales amount. So these are the measures that we've already created in our previous videos. Okay, let's just change the settings of the callout value so that the display units are none. So I can see the whole amount. Okay, then what else do I need? I need the on-time orders. So again, this is something that we created in our last video, this measure. Let me just copy and paste this. On-time orders. What else do I need? I need the on-time sales amount. So again, I'll copy and paste and I'll create an on-time sales amount card. Let me just copy this and paste this again. I need the delayed orders. So basically giving me the count of the delayed orders and the sales amount corresponding to those delayed orders. So that should give me the delayed sales amount. And at last, I need the average delivery days. So on an average, what was the duration of deliveries? So when it's ordered and when it's finally shipped and it has reached the destination, what is the average time it's taking across all suppliers? So this pretty much finishes this part. Now what else do I need? I need sales amount by date and where sales is on y-axis and date is on x-axis. So again, I can create a chart. I need a line chart. So I would pull in the order date in here. So I have the order date on the x-axis and I would have my sales amount on my y-axis. And I also want to have the cumulative sales amount on my y-axis. So let me also get that cumulative sales by day. So I can see a trend of both the charts, like the, or can I put this on a secondary y-axis so that this much becomes much clearer? Yeah, this is much better. So these two different parameters have two different axes. So these are the values. Let's just increase the canvas size. So I'm changing the canvas size to, right now let's make it 1000 and width maybe 1800. Okay, this gives us enough breathing space for all other visuals. I need a funnel chart for sales amount, COGS and profit. So I will pull the funnel chart. So I need the sales amount. And I also need the COGS. And I also need the profit. but I don't have profit. So I have to create a new measure. So again, let's create a new measure and let's call it profit is equal to sales amount minus my COGS. So that should give me my profit. So where is profit? Yeah. So this clear completes my funnel chart so that I can analyze for each and every product or supplier what is the sales that they are making, what is the total COGS, and what is the profit that they are earning. Now I need a sales amount and profit by the product name. So what I want is if I have a bar chart on which a portion is giving me the sales amount and another part of it is giving me the profit. So I can get a visual representation of what amounts to the sales and what amounts to the profit. So for example, if I pull this chart here and on the y-axis I will have the product name. Product name will come from the products table. And on the x-axis I need the sales amount and I need the profit. So now you can see, okay, I need it to be on the x-axis, not the y-axis. I need the profit below the sales amount. Yeah. So now I can visually kind of get an idea of if I'm selling, if the sales amount is this much, then how much profit that I'm making for each product. So I get a product analysis basically. And what else do we need? We need the supplier analysis. So for that, I'm going to use a notepad file where I have kind of collated all the steps that we are going to take ahead as we move into the video. So we can skip that for now. And then we need the sales amount by delivery type. Now, what is this delivery type? Well, we are going to segregate the delivery types into two. One is the on time and one is the delayed. And we are going to create a new calculated column for that. And similarly, here I have another donut chart which is giving me sales amount by day type. Now again, what is day type? It's essentially the sales amount by weekday and sales amount by weekend. So I can quickly create that donut chart because we already have that classification in our orders table. So if I pull in the sales amount can come from a measure. So that will be my values. And day type is something that we have already created. Yeah, if I put that in legend. So see, this is the split in terms of the sales that have happened on a weekday and the sales that have happened on weekend. And so this pretty much clears or completes our mockup. Now let's do the fun part where we are going to do all the formatting, we are going to do all the sizing and shaping and create the supply analysis and all other visuals. So in order to save some time, what I've done is I've already created a dashboard and from that I've taken all the formattings related to the height, the width, the background, the the alignment, everything. And so I'm going to quickly refer to that notepad file and start building the dashboard. So now let's say hello to our dashboard steps file and let's start building the dashboard one step at a time. So first thing is we are going to get ourselves a canvas background. Right now, if you take a look at the dashboard, it looks plain, boring, white. I need a background. So I'm going to pull in a canvas background. I will attach that background in the description so you can use the same. So I'm browsing. So this is the file that I'm going to use. And now you see that there's nothing because the transparency is set to 100%. We are going to make it 0 and the size, let's get back to the notepad file. Transparency will be set to 0 and image fit will be set to fit. So this goes to fit and transparency is 0. Now let's start by formatting all the visuals. Now let's start with the cards. Let's first set the page size. So the page size is 1000 by 1850. Okay. The next thing is we have the KPIs. Okay, we are setting total orders, sales amount, on-time orders, on-time sales amount, delayed orders, delayed sales amount, average delivery. Okay, we have covered all of that. Now we have to set the callout value in the card to a font size 25. So I go to the card, go to callout value. This I'm setting to 25. The next thing is category label font size. I have to set it to 12. So I go to category label. Okay, it's already 12. The next thing is the height should be 100 and width should be 180. Now I go to general properties. Height should be 100 and width should be 180. And then background color should be white. So I go to effects. Background color is white. Transparency is set as 40%. So I change this to 40%. Now visual border should be on, and visual border is the lightest shade of gray. So I choose this color. The rounded corners are set to 5 pixels, so I use that. Again, I'll set the shadow to be on as per my notepad file, and my color is going to be this shade, and the rest default, like offset should be outside and position should be bottom right, like position as outside and bottom right. So that pretty much covers this card. Now all I have to do is just format this and change each and every card to the same formatting. And I'm going to use this formatting across all the visuals. We can reduce the callout value for this particular chart later on. Now I also have the sizing fixed, height as 100 and width as 180. So let's 100 and width as 180. Now let me just select all these cards at once and change its size 100 and 180. Now that we are done with this, let's put them in an alignment, roughly a proper alignment. So we have the total orders, the sales amount, then I think we have the on-time orders, then we have the on-time sales amount, then we have our delayed orders, then the delayed sales amount, and the average delivery days. Let's go back to our mockup and check total orders. Yeah, sales amount, okay. On-time orders, yes. On-time sales amount, okay. Delayed orders, delayed sales amount, average delayed, okay. So we have covered that. Now let's work with the other visuals. As per the mockup, I need to have the funnel chart over here. Okay, so that's right. I need this chart, sales amount and profit by product name over here. So let me move it to this point. Now let's just change the formatting a little bit. What if I use this formatting? I think it's about the callout value. Data label values. I think yeah, 12 looks good. Yeah, we can keep it to 12. And now the sizing. So that's also something that has already been decided. So the trend chart is going to have the sizing as 342 by 623. So I go to this chart, properties, height will be 342 and width will be 623. Again, for this, we have already created this new measure. So for the funnel chart, the size will be 339 by 279. 339 by 279. And for the column chart, we have 339 by 633. Okay, let me just move these a little bit to the left so as to make space for this chart. Or I can just move these cards slightly in between. Okay, so we are done with these parts. Now we are left with a couple more visuals, which is the supplier analysis and the sales amount by delivery type. So let's go back to our notepad file, and okay, first we have to set the size for our donut chart. It is going to be 304 by 301. Okay, I think we would need, the data labels are very big. We need to change the font size for them as 12. Yeah, much better now. I think we can also change the position of the legend because it's consuming space to the right. So we can change the position to bottom center. Yeah, this looks much better. So now there are a couple of things which are remaining, which is my supplier analysis chart and table and my sales amount by day type chart. So what do I mean by day type? So right now we have weekend and weekday. So that's my day type. What is the delivery type? Delivery type is essentially if it's on time or if it's delayed. But I don't have a way to segregate these two. So I'm going to create a new column. So let me go to the orders table. We are going to create a new column in the orders table. Yeah. So in the orders table, I create a new column and I will call it delivery type. And if I'm going to use the if condition. So if the delivery days, I have the day number. Okay, so I don't have the delivery days in this particular table, which I'll have to source from my shipments table. So if I go to the shipments table, I would need to source the delivery dates in my orders table from the shipments table. So if I go to the orders table, create a new column which will reference my delivery days. So I create delivery days is equal to related shipments, and now we have a problem. We cannot create a relationship between the shipments and the orders table because there is no direct relationship. There is one which is an inactive relation, and that cannot be used. So which is why now we have to also go back to our data model, make some changes, and then come back and build the remaining visuals. So now if I go back to my data model, I can see that from my shipments to orders, there is an inactive relationship, which is indicated by a dotted line. Now, in order to create a delivery days column in my orders table, I would need that to be active. But if I have to make it active, I'll have to delete this relationship. But I cannot simply delete this relationship if I'm not sure if the flow of my relations is going to give me the correct output or not. So I'll delete and I'll show that it's not going to affect our calculations. So I'll delete this relationship, yes. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to make this active, make this relationship active. I'll click OK. So when I said that if I remove the relationship between my suppliers table and my shipments table, that it's not going to affect our calculation, I'm going to do one quick check. I'm going to show you that it's not going to affect our calculations. So let's say I have my supplier ID from my suppliers table. Where do I have it? Supplier. Let's pull the supplier ID from my supplier name, supplier ID. Okay, this is the supplier ID from the suppliers table. And I also need the supplier name. So I want these two values. Now what I want is from the shipments table, I want to see how many orders have been processed by each supplier. So for that, I'm going to pull out the order ID from my shipments table, and I'm not going to just pull out the order ID, I'll take the count of it. So now if the flow of relations is correct, and because we don't have a direct relationship between the suppliers and the shipments, and so if it is traversing from suppliers to products, from products to orders, and from orders to shipments, and if the flow is correct, then in this I should get the correct number of orders that is being processed by these particular supplier. So for example, if I go for Apex Sports Supply, and it's showing in this visual that there are total 8 orders being processed by this particular supplier. Now, if I go to my suppliers table or the shipments table and then choose supplier ID as 1, then I have a total of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8. So that's how you check that even after deleting a relationship that already existed, I can still go ahead and modify those relationships and still get the correct output. So I'll clear this filter and we'll start with our discussion on how to create the delivery type, which is it delayed or is it on time. So I can go to the orders table and I can now create a new column which will give me the delivery days from my shipments table. So I'll create delivery days is equal to related shipments. See, now I can see that delivery days. Now I'm going to create another column and I will call it delivery type will be if delivery days is equal to or is less than or equal to 2, then it is on time, else it is going to be delayed, and I hit enter. So now this will provide me as a legend or as a filter for the other donut chart. So now if I copy and paste this donut chart here, now I will simply pull out the delivery type from my orders table and place it in case of the day type. So now you can see that the sales amount by delivery type is showing me that the 49K, which is 49,000 sales amount corresponds to the delayed sales amount, which I can verify from this card. And 59,000 is the sales amount corresponds to the on-time sales, which I can verify from this card. So now that part is done. Now we want to create a table. So I'll pull out a table here and we'll start with building our almost the last visual because we still have the slicer panel to be done. So now what do we have for the supplier analysis table? So it is going to have the supplier ID. So let's start pulling in one value at a time. So I'm pulling the supplier ID from the suppliers table. I would also need the supplier name. Okay, it's populating somewhere here. I was more interested in getting it here. Supplier ID, supplier name. Then I have my total orders, which is going to be order ID. I need the count of it. So that gives me the total orders. I need the average delivery days. So this essentially gives me what was the average delivery days for each of these suppliers. Then I need the on-time order count. So I will go for on-time orders. So this gives me the on-time orders count. Then I need the on-time sales amount. Then I need the delayed order count. I also need the delayed sales amount. I also want the late shipments percentage that we had calculated in one of our videos. So late shipments supplier. I'll just rename this to late shipments percentage. Then we have the COGS, the sales amount, ROI, and profit. So let's go one by one. I need the COGS. I have the sales. I have the ROI, and I have the profit. So this table is going to give me pretty much everything that I need to know for each supplier. I have the total orders, the average delivery date, the total orders, on-time sales amount, delayed orders, delayed sales amount, late shipments percentage. I have the COGS, the sales amount, the return on investment, as well as the profit. So let's kind of reformat this slightly so that we can reduce the scrolling that the user would have to do while going through this particular table. This can go to 3 rows. Can also reduce this. Now let's change the formatting of this table. So again, I would change the formatting such that the style presets are set to none. Now the table looks much cleaner. We can increase the font size. So I go to values, can make it 10, 12 rather. Column headers, we can make them 12. So can slightly increase height, but then we also have to increase height for this pie chart. Yeah, looks better. Now the only thing that is left in this is this slicer panel. So again, let me just quickly will bring out my notepad. What are the standards for my slicers? So first I need a rectangular shape. Just make some space for this. Let's put all of this slightly to the right. Let me just group this and move it slightly to the right so as to give me some space. Now let's ungroup it. Yeah, looks better. Okay, cool. Now, what are the standards that we are following? We are changing the rounded corners to 12%. So shape, rounded corners, 12%. Then we have to fill it with the lightest shade of gray, what we have been following until now. So I go to style. We are setting the transparency to 60%. And again, border is the same as my fill color. So go to style, border, color. The width is 1 pixel and transparency is 0%. So it remains as it is. Now what else we need to, we need the following slicers: supplier ID, supplier name. Let's pull it one by one. I need the supplier ID from the suppliers table. I want it to be a drop down. I'll change this setting to a drop down. Let's move this into the slicer panel. Let's increase slightly the thing height looks good to me. Width, you can play with the width. Yeah, I think this looks just about right to me. Now let me change the formatting so that I can copy this formatting to the slicer. Now I need supplier name as well. So I'll copy this, I'll paste it here. I need the supplier name. What else I need? Product ID, product category, product name. So Control C, Control V. Product ID. Control C, Control V, product name, and product category. Okay, I just have it named as category and not product category. Let's just rename this as product category. But I think we'll have to change it in its title. Okay, it's already there. Now, what else? Delivery type, day type, and delivery days. Control C, Control V. So, delivery type, which means either it's on time or it's delayed. See, and then we have the day type, whether it's a weekend or a weekday. And we need one more slicer. Just have to make a little space here for an additional slicer. Oh, delivery days. So now let's just align this, distribute this vertically. And distribute vertically. Let's just distribute these two as well horizontally. Let's align these charts to the left, or align these to the left. And let's align these to the right. So that completes, or it doesn't, not quite. We still have to give it the title. So we need to make some space. So I can maybe make space at the bottom. So I'll just select all of this, group it, and move this slightly to the bottom and to the right. And then I would need to insert a text box in which I can write shipments dashboard. Control A. Let's set the size to 44. Let's move it to the top. We don't need the background for it, so I'll go to effects and I'll set the background to off. So now let's do some checking. For example, if I choose supplier ID 1, okay, the report is filtering for the supplier ID 1. So all I'm seeing is the products that have been sold by supplier ID 1. It has 2 on-time orders, 6 delayed orders, which is evident from this card. The total sales, on-time sales amount is 1200, which I can see here. Now the delayed sales amount is 5340, which I can see here. The average delivery days is 3.6, which I can see here. Let me just add one couple of more to see if, okay, I'm now seeing 3 suppliers and the data is getting filtered as per the 3 suppliers. Now let's check with the supplier name. Let's go with the active supplies and Bike Pro. So I'm seeing active supplies and Bike Pro. The data is getting filtered according to those 2 suppliers. On-time orders are 2. Total will be 4. Delayed orders 3 and 3, 6. Okay. So this is also, can pass this. Let's go with product ID 1. Okay, so here I think we have an issue because we have pulled the product ID from the wrong column. So now we need to replace this and get the product ID from the correct column, which is from the products table. So now if I pull the product ID 1, yeah, now it is getting filtered. I can only see one product. If I choose another product ID, yeah, that pretty much is filtering correct. Now if I choose the product name, okay, I have to first remove this filter. If I choose avalanche snowboard, I am seeing that there were two orders being placed, all were on time, all were on weekdays, and it had a profit of how much? 1900. That's good. If I go over here, profit is 1900. Now let's go the category, go for sports care. So these are all the products belonging to the sports care category. Let's choose delivery type. So if I go for on time, the delayed should give me blank. Yeah, that's correct. This is giving me only on time. The delayed orders is showing me nothing. The delayed sales amount is showing me nothing. If I select delayed, the on time should show me nothing. Yeah, the on time is has gone blank, and so has this donut chart. So if I just clear this out now. Now let's just check the weekend and weekday filter. So once I select weekend, this getting populated such that it's only showing me weekend, and the sales amount is 13745, out of which, okay, let's just change this setting to call out value display next to none so that we can verify it. This is 13745, this is 13745. Okay, let's just clear this. Also change this call out value display next to none, and this one as well. Now let's check the delivery days. Now if I'm choosing 1 and 2, it means I'm going to get nothing for the delayed orders because 1 and 2 correspond to my on-time orders. And now if I choose 4 and 5, this is going to get populated only the delayed orders because 4 and 5 are corresponding to my delayed orders. So yeah, we have successfully completed building the shipments dashboard as well. So this brings us to the end of the shipments dataset project. And if you enjoyed watching this, I would recommend you to take a look at this dashboard, maybe do it something even more creative than I have done. And yeah, uh, happy to have you in this video and see you in the next video. Until then, happy learning and thanks for watching.